Greetings, mortals. This is Varevo once again, and welcome to what is going to be a brief review of the Sega Genesis Flashback. This console was the result of a very brief partnership between Sega and AtGames, who chose to use the Firecore chipset, which is infamous for poor quality audio, as you will see momentarily. There are 80 games included, 40 of which are officially licensed Sega games, which, as you can see here, includes most of the Sonic the Hedgehog games that were included with the console. The only notable exception you might see here is Sonic the Hedgehog 3. They do have Sonic and Knuckles, though. And yes, the cheat codes do remain intact. The fact of the matter is, when you're listening to the audio quality, like when you're playing it without headphones in, it's not as bad, or at least it doesn't sound as bad as it actually is. Like, I tried playing this. This is my second recording. My first recording didn't go well. But the most notable thing, I just have to show you. Listening to headphones, it's terrifying. Sega! Yeah. Listen to that. The controls are fairly responsive. Like, the controls are okay. It's responsive, it's still fun. But the problem, the entire problem is the audio. I mentioned before that listening to it without headphones from a distance, it doesn't sound as bad. Listening to it with headphones in, you can really hear just how terrible it is. Like, when you're listening to this, there are some parts of it where it's genuinely terrifying and it sounds really creepy. Like, parts of it give me Sonic.exe vibes. Those of you who don't know what Sonic.exe is, well, it's a horror story, I'll tell you that right now. Let's try another one of my favorites. Comic Zone.
Test 1, 2. Sega.
That's a stark difference between the Sonic and Comic Zone ports. You can tell it's a few octaves lower than it should be. The only time where the audio is relatively accurate, some of you may have noticed the Sonic the Hedgehog splash where the declaration of Sega, that was the only thing that sounded relatively accurate. That being said, At Games still did a good job porting it. Everything is intact except for the audio. That's the biggest gripe I have with this. And if you can get past the poor audio, it's still a fun time. But let's just take a moment to not enjoy, but enjoy the torture. How about that? And beating up these guys is still incredibly fun. The controls are responsive. The button mapping is perfect. The only issue I have, again, is the audio. Let's do one more here. Let's try... Let's try Streets of Rage. Another one with a familiar track. You see, this is where it has the potential to become terrifying. Listen to that. One of these days, I will be able to present these games in the actual audio quality, and I'll be able to do a better comparison. So, here we have the Sega Genesis Flashback in all of its minuscule microscopic glory. The console itself has a very sleek, visually pleasing design with a functioning cartridge slot. The console itself interfaces with the included wireless controllers via a standard for the time infrared system. But it also has ports where you can plug in a wired Sega Genesis controller. The included controllers are the more advanced 6-button configuration, as opposed to the 3 buttons that most of us poor people grew up with. The first issue that I have comes in with the sensors. Because unlike with more modern stuff, like with TV remotes and stuff like that, with these, you have to make sure the sensor on the controller is lined up with the sensor on the console at all times. Otherwise, if you input a command, then turn your controller and let go of the button, that command will stay inputted into the system, and you will end up falling to your death many times. But that's pretty much all there is to say about the Flashback itself. I do have one more game I'm going to try, an actual cartridge, just to show you that it's not just the games that are built into the console that are affected. So, here we have Aladdin on the Sega Genesis. I recently purchased this from a local game shop for around $20. The cartridge... Let me pull the console over here real quick. The cartridge fits into the slot very nicely, and while the console does maintain a firm grip on it, it is still relatively easy to pull out. Already, we're off to a bang. Anyone who's played this game at all, there are people who think this is an actually difficult game. I, as a kid, never had a problem with it. The audio quality here, you can tell it's been affected by the chip. And I may end up taking some damage here, but that's simply because I'm not trying. Right now I'm just trying to get a demo going for it's a sample of what we're dealing with. I mean, the Prince Ali number you hear, it's a fairly decent rendition. But it's still... The Fire Core chipset does definitely affect it. But yeah, that's pretty much the extent of what I have to say about this. I may have to alter the audio for Aladdin to avoid copyright. Though I may just be small enough that I can get away with it. We'll see. If y'all don't end up seeing this video, then it got copyright claimed by Disney. At this point, I have no respect left for Disney. At least modern Disney. I'll be very clear, I enjoyed Disney back in the day. I still enjoy some of their older movies, cartoons. Aladdin was one of my absolute favorites. And some of those I still have a love for to this day. But that is the Sega Genesis Flashback. I may do more in the future if there's demand for it. Just know that with headphones in, my ears are currently bleeding. This has been Warevo. Thank you for joining me. God bless.